Welcome to the What to Read Next podcast. In this podcast, your host, Lori and me, will interview published authors to chat about their work, journey to getting published, and their book recommendations. If you share a passion for books and always looking for your next read, then join us. Hi, Monica. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Glad to be here.
So happy to chat with you.
Yeah, same.
We chatted actually sometime last year where it feels like years ago because we've been in so random time space continuum.
That's what a pandemic does to you, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
Full track of time.
I don't know. We just lost track of time. Like our time was either really short, like it went really fast, or really long. So
yes. I agree. Like particular months were like 2 years, and then a whole season was like a day.
Yeah. I so I'm hoping the summer tends to be like a day, just to get
all right, get past that heat.
The hot weather. We just need to skip the hot weather.
That's right.
So tell us what you've been up to.
I mean, I've been pretty busy writing a lot. My daughter just graduated high school a couple weeks ago.
Oh, gosh.
That was kind of a big deal. And I've just been really busy working on the college year series and various other things. It's been a good year.
It's been a good year for you. Yeah. So let's talk about the college years, because that's an offshoot from your Callahan's. Is that
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an offshoot of the Callahan series. And when I wrote the Callahans, it was about the Callahans, with the exception of the last book, but that's okay. He was a friend of the Callahans. And I decided, I wanted to give all the friend group give them a book each too. So I kicked off with the freshmen, of course, and it follows every year. It's the whole group, but then I will focus on a couple for, of course, one book. And so it's different couples for each year. So freshman was out in April. Sophomore just came out, and then the junior's out in September, and the senior's out in November.
Okay. And so we should read them in order as opposed to out of order.
You could read it out of order, but I would think that you should probably read it in order, only because you'll find out if you read the sophomore, then you already know who got together. If you start with the sophomore, you already know who got together in the freshman. Now, not a lot is revealed about their relationship. So it's not like ends on a cliffhanger or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're better in order.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because you see the characters grow each year of college.
You do.
So what was like your research process of writing college age students, and seeing them grow over 4 years,
Some of it I based on my own experiences, even though I'm old and it's been a long time. My kids, they keep me young. My daughter's getting ready to go to college, and all of her friends. And then my youngest son, he's going to be a senior in high school this year. So, I've seen these kids grow up. And so it was kind of and with the Callahans, they were in high school. So that's why it was so easy to write high schoolers. I was surrounded by high schoolers. Mm-hmm. And now as my kids get older, I feel like my characters are getting older too. Like they're my kids, right? So anyway, I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research. I just kind of based it on what's going on around me. And it's been kind of fun to age up the group too. So
yeah, I think it might be fun just to see the group age up. Like you see them like spend some time in this world and see them from high school to then college, and just and see them like, going to those relationships and just trying to figure out who they are. It's as an identity,
Oh, totally. And, that's where I started, was writing new adult. So I like to be in a more youthful mindset, even as I get older, like I don't feel that much older, but I do like that. I like that time period where you are changing and you don't know exactly what to do yet. And you're a little unsure. What I've really worked on with this series and I did it with the Callahans too, but more so with this series, is how supportive the friend group is with each other. And I really focus on the guys. They have a bit of a bromance together. You know, they all have each other's backs and they take care of each other. And that's been really fun to explore. I really noticed it when I wrote the dating series last year. That was more about female friendships, and there was a really strong core female group in that series. I had a lot of readers who would say, I would love my friend group to be like that. And I really think that during the pandemic, we weren't with our friends as much. And so to play that up and to give readers a sense of a friend group, I think that really, touched a lot of readers. It helped me. It helped me pretend to, oh yeah, here's my little friend group that I'm going to hang out with today, right? Like we missed our friends.
Yeah, me too. I would tell you, I miss seeing my friends in real life. Like I saw one friend that I introduced myself when I moved to Chicago, like a year ago. I was like, "You live in Chicago, I live in Chicago. Let's be friends." And I finally saw her in real life like a couple of weeks ago, and it was like so nice to see friendship stuff. Like it's just really nice. And I've created internet friends who have like groups that have chats, text chats, and just like checking in and all different things. But it's just kind of like fun to like I miss those friends. Like I miss seeing friends who go for a happy hour, and like
totally
dating life or not dating life,
Right. No, all of that. And so I think that helped me deal with not seeing, as many as my friends, all of us being on quarantine and whatnot. And so I thought, well, why not keep this up? So I did that with the dating series, and now I'm doing it with the guys in the college years. I mean, and the women in the series as well are also friends. They all become friends. So I just focus on that. That's like almost like a secondary characters, the friend group.
Yeah, but I like friendships to be prominent. I think it's the one who's not in a romantic relationship, but it's strong friendships is like such a big part of my life. Like I like seeing women have that because there's something to be said. Like the romantic relationship can give you something, but it cannot give you the whole world.
I totally agree.
You get it from other places. You get it like from yourself. You get it from your friends. You get a sense of completeness, like from a whole different aspect. Like romance is not the only thing. Even though we want to read for romance, like there's so much,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and I think it's as an author, it can help you get to know the character a little bit better because how they interact with some other people, like how they new stressors, new ways, new ideas, like it can give you the person.
That is so true. That is so true. And in the sophomore, my heroine Ellie, she has a job, and there's a lot that happens at her job, and so I think that helped as well show her what kind of person she was, show the reader, I should say. So to explore that as well, like we are many faceted. We are not just out for the hot hero. You know what I mean? Well, that doesn't hurt.
Yes, you're here for the but we're also looking at like in college you have classes, you got work, you got all the other stuff, you got friends, it's so much easier to make friends in college, and you're like an adult,
right?
So I used to work in college back in right after grad school. I ended up working at college for about 10 years, and so that was like a fun so I look back at new adult as just a reminder of my old career, like what I used to be like, because there's a lot of questions when you're in a college age. You're trying to figure out who you are as a person, and then your relationship has shifted. You're letting go of your identity from high school. Your family identity is different because most of the time you're away from your family. So how do you manage those relationships? You're trying to figure out who you are as a person. You're trying to, and then you have this big idea that you should know your future, like at 21.
I know. I tell that to my daughter all the time as she's trying to figure out to go to college. I'm like, you're 18. You don't have to know. You don't have to know.
No. And like your major is gonna be the only thing that's gonna matter. And it's gonna be, and it's like so not true.
No, it's not true at all.
I wish I could tell my younger self, like, I'm sorry, but it's okay. You can chill out. I went to grad school for higher education. I work in a college. I went to grad school to work in a college, and I thought that was going to be my career, and I thought that I was going to do it. And I did it for 10 years, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I was, like that's when you realize, like in your 20s and 30s, you're like, oh, I didn't need to know every single answer at 21,
No,
So
it's totally true.
yeah. So I think it's interesting, like, writing those books, like, to allow you to explore those characters and to explore romance and to see it from a place of, like, it can be happy for now and it can be happy forever.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
have to be like, the whole thing right
No,
now.
it doesn't. It doesn't. Like you can change. You're allowed to change, especially at such a young age.
Yes, you're allowed to change.
You are. You're totally allowed.
In terms of, are you a romance reader or you read other things, variety, or?
I mean, I'm definitely a romance reader, but I've been reading other things. So my mom has been sharing her online library books that she gets. And so she'll read some and be like, oh my gosh, you really need to read this one. And so she'll read it so fast that she'll have enough time to be able to give me the login, and then I'm able to read it.
Yes.
And so I read the book, The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. Have you heard of that one?
Yes. Oh,
Did you read it?
it's on my list, and I have friends who said the audiobook is excellent, the book is excellent. Like, you can read it in one sitting, and those are the books that I'm like looking forward to.
Just everything you just said is just 100% true. It is such a good book. It leaves you like you'd read it and you think, okay, I'm going to stop. And then she'd like leave it on this, with a tiny question or something would happen. You're like, oh, got to keep going, got to keep going. So it's just really well done. It's not a romance at all, but it's really, really good. Really good. And the ending just got me. Like, I don't know. It was such a good book. I highly recommend that book. It was probably one of my favorite books I've read this year so far.
I love that you're buddy reading with your mom, and
I totally buddy reading with my mom. Yes, we did. We buddy read. What was the other one? The Good Sister is what we also buddy read, and that was a really good book. I should say. I almost said movie. A little creepy, a little bit of a thriller, mystery. The heroine had she was autistic, I believe, and I just loved the way that she thought. And I don't know, it was just such a great voice, such a unique voice, and things would happen and you're just like, what? It was so good. I highly recommend that one as well.
oh my gosh, I have to tell you, did you read The Mother-in-Law by Sally? I think it's the same author as The Good Sister, Sally Hepburn.
I've not read that one.
Oh, it's good. You should read that one. That was
okay. I will.
I just have
you need to read The Good Sister.
Yeah, now I know I'm like adding The Good Sister to my
You should
say, like, and if because you're like, we're talking thrillers, which is like, I think it's like a nice little break from romance. Like, so
I like a good thriller.
You like good thrillers. I would say, have you read The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen?
I did read that. I did. It was a while ago.
It was a while ago. I liked it, but I hated the ending. That the ending had a twist, and I was like, it's extra. But there's a couple. I liked The Anonymous Girl, the one that they came afterwards. That was a fun one.
So I think I read that one.
It's about a therapist. It's something around some psychology study. And you're trying to figure out, like, guessing game, like what's happening. And that was interesting. So I would say, like, if you haven't read that one, you read The Anonymous Girl.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that they came out the last year or 2 years ago, I would say skip it. Like, it's okay, but it's not loving. I didn't love it.
Got it.
Another
book I read. I read this last week, and then right now I'm not reading anything. But I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Ooh, how was it?
I really enjoyed it. She started out kind of in her earlier books, women's fiction with a little bit of romance. She did a great job. I'm a total fan of her.
Yeah.
Daisy Jones and the Six, really loved that book. This one is more about a family, and it all happens basically on one day and night, but then you kind of go back in the past, and and get everybody's perspective. And I thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed it.
Did you read Evelyn Hugo?
Okay, that's the only one that I
So you should
have
read
not
Evelyn
read. I know I
Hugo.
have it on my Kindle.
You should read Evelyn Hugo because Mike Riva is one of the husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So you get to find
Shut up.
You get to find out a little bit more of that world. Yeah, she brought
I had no idea.
yeah, she has some Easter eggs. So yeah, she has 7 husbands.
Yes.
And it's a whole story about finding her love affair, and it's just like so good. So
I'll have to read it. I know I have it on my Kindle, so I will read it. I had no idea he was in there. That is so great.
He's not a main
right.
character. There's 7 husbands, so we're
right. There's a lot.
But he's one of the husbands. That's why it's like that was like an Easter egg. And she was like, "Yeah, that Mike Riva." And you're like, "Which one?" And you're like, "Oh, Evelyn Hugo." And like,
he's terrible. He's a bad dad. He's a bad guy.
Yeah. So, and I'm assuming like Daisy Jones, like she throws Easter eggs from her stories, like from the three stories, like Daisy Jones, there's like stuff mentioned there, and it's like they're all like connected in the world that she's.
Yeah, I knew she kind of had some of her characters kind of spread over, but I did not know that about Evelyn Hugo and Mick Riva being one of her husbands. That's funny. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes. Oh, so good. So I love these recommendations. I love that we're chatting about books that, as someone who's in a romance rod, I'm going for the books that are like not romance related, like no romantic elements, but like just kind of like just enjoying like maybe some murder, some thrillers.
Right, exactly.
Murders.
As a romance writer, you should read romance because you need to know what's popular and plus it just, I don't know. I mean, my first love was romance books, but I do like to change it up. I went through a YA stage. I've gone through major thriller stages where that's like all I want to read. But right now I feel like I'm doing a true variety. I'll do a romance. I'll do a a woman's fiction. I'll do a thriller.
So what kind of YA do you read? Did you read like fantasy or like contemporary or?
I am not big on fantasy. I want to be big on fantasy. Everybody loves fantasy. And I start reading it or I'll watch a fantasy movie and I'm just like, it's just not my thing. Like, I can't help it. I try.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I actually like I get books from publishers and I just tell them like I like if it's fantasy, it needs to be a complete series. Like I need to know all the books are out because I hate waiting for a year and I forget what happens. So like once you get invested in a year and then you like invest in the book, I know the world, and then it ends in a cliffhanger and then I have to wait. And then I forget.
Totally. And traditional publishing is so difficult with the one book a year. That's why it's so great. Like Jennifer Armentrout is with, is it Blue Box Press? And they're releasing so much faster, which the readers are so greedy to get those books.
Yes.
Such a smart move on all of their part because then everybody's happy because they get to finish the series relatively quickly.
Yeah, I'm fine with 6 months, but I know like it takes time to write and it takes time to figure it out.
Yes, and those books are long and complex.
They are like
all that world building.
It's like something else. So yeah, so I mainly read YA the contemporaries.
Same
and
here.
They're like easy to just digest. They're like fun. They're just funny. They're interesting. They're more diverse. So it's like kind of like in different voices you get to hear. So it's kind of like
fun. True. It's been a while. I've not read YA in a while. Like it was a few years ago when I went through the real heavy YA stage.
Yeah.
And I haven't read any in a while, but there's good ones out there. I know there are.
There's some good ones.
There always are.
Yes. So Monica, tell us where we can find you online.
You can find me on Facebook, Monica Murphy Author. I'm also have a reader group. I think it's just called Monica Murphy Reader Group. Instagram, Monica Murphy Author, and then website, monicamurphyauthor.com.
Thank you, Monica, for being on the show.
Oh, of course. Thank you again for having me.
If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share with friends, subscribe, rate, and review the show. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. Today's episode's partner is Libra FM. If you're an audiobook listener, then you should add Libra FM as your go-to source for paid audiobooks. Libra FM makes it possible for you to buy audiobooks through your local bookstore. Memberships start at $14.95, and they also have great sales for women's audiobooks each month for $3.99, thanks to the Kiss Club. To sign up for Libra FM, please visit whattoreadnextblog.com/LibraFM. You will receive a free audiobook when you sign up for a monthly subscription. If you purchase a subscription through our link, you will be supporting the podcast at no cost to you. The What to Read Next podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Please visit frolic.media/podcast to discover new shows to tune in. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.